Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to be here. It's a Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. We are in it to win it today. Lots of stuff doing, lots of fun stuff. Been a super crazy busy week. Product reviews, we did insulation, we did everything electrical. I've got some follow-ups from those. I wanted to get shark bite in this last week, but believe it or not, I ran out of shark bites. So I got to go get some more so I can actually demonstrate to you guys how they work. Talk about the uneducated economist, Simon, just a super good dude, super pumped to be able to be on with him. Talk about the next, basically just kind of talk about some of the things we talked about in that interview, which I thought were just really enlightening. And I love the guy just because, he looked at it and he said, hey, I thought that housing would be a bad investment. I really didn't want to do it. And then he did it. And now he's grateful that he did. And I think a lot of people are kind of in his boat where they were hesitant to do it, didn't want to do it, preferred to stay renters, but basically his hand was forced. And now he's elated that he has a home again. So yeah, that time with Simon, I really encourage you to spend it because literally he spent an hour and 20 minutes with us. And it was just a great, I love spending time with him. Honestly, I'd do it with the camera off. I just think he's such a good guy, and smart and self-taught and works hard and humble. I mean, he's awesome. There's no doubt in my mind that he ends up very, very, as if 100,000 subs on YouTube isn't really successful, which it's hugely successful. I just think that he ends up, I think the sky is the limit for that guy. He's just so good and so undervalued. If you're one of my subscribers and you're looking for other channels to watch, aside from mine, of course, I really encourage you, watch some of his live streams and super chat the guy. He'll answer your question. I've never seen him get a super chat that he didn't answer. Even if it's like $5, $10, $20, he's just such a good guy. So I really like Simon. I super chat him too. Just because I think that he's just, if I need an opinion on something, he's just worth his weight in gold. So Simon, uneducated economist, I thank you so much for taking the time with me. It was just really, I really just enjoyed the time. Like I said, I do it with the camera off. Yeah, it was a real blast. I encourage you guys watch the, watch that interview. And like I said, you will absolutely learn a ton if you watch that interview. Let's see what else. Oh, the housing market. The reason I think the next 10 days are the most important is because I'm interested to see what's going to be happening in the next 10 days before that July 20th, where National Association of Realtors actually talks about the number of transactions that have dropped off. Is it 20%? Is it 30%? Is it 40% of transactions dropping off? I'm watching the Las Vegas market, trying to, acquire another home, and it's nuts. They are adding in my buy box. They're adding between 5 and 10 a day in my buy box. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's a lot. So I'm literally having to shrink my buy box because it's just too much. I don't want to shrink the buy box because I'm looking for that outrageous deal. Somebody bought the place for $1 million 5 years ago. It went up to 2.5 million bucks. And now that's, hopefully a heavy, I hope that part of the market, I hope for my own sake, selfishly, that part of the market actually does crash, that there's a 40% correction, and that I can buy that house for over $1 million off of what it was once worth. And that the other person still makes out because they needed to sell, and they still didn't owe a whole lot on it. So I just being real with you, I'm just hugely humbled when somebody that's as good at what they do, like an educated economist, like Simon is. I'm just hugely humbled when he'll take the time to spend it with, like, thank God we're not judged based on the size of our channels. But yeah, just I encourage you, watch the video. And don't and just be warned that there's people already out there that are talking about how, you know, landlords hoard everything. We know that's not true. We know that almost all this stuff comes to market and that they have their chance, and that if they don't execute, that's on them. You know, owner ox have a much better shot of buying product than we do, because we have to buy with returns in mind, and they just have to buy for it to be a place to live. So yeah, just really encourage you, watch that video. I think it's fantastic. I've got shark bites this week. There was one other thing I was doing this week, shark bites, and I don't know if you guys have suggestions. I'll go through it with you guys today. If you guys have suggestions, I'd be happy to talk about it. And look at doing some other stuff. The insulation one, that honestly, if you guys are doing rehabs, that insulation one's worth its weight in gold. I heard from somebody this week that had like some installer telling him about how Roxel was not good product. They're idiots. They're just idiots. I've actually done houses with it. So the issue is there's not as much margin putting that stuff in. There's a lot more margin in blown in. In fact, I actually looked at the quote or looked at the number that they were quoted. They were quoted $7,000. I did the math. That's about $2,400 worth of material if you use Roxel. So that means that whatever they're using, they are marking up that much more and then marking up their labor to do the work. Vendors like you, your day is coming. You're going to be in trouble. You're going to be out of work because you didn't do it. You didn't do it honest. So yeah, that's my take on it. But that's what I see the market starting to adjust. So yeah, excited to be here with you guys this morning. We'll talk real estate for a bunch of time. As always, I will be checking my phone. The reason I'll be checking my phone is because, as always, I have guys working out there in the field. We reward the hustle. And so because of that, I always make sure that I'm available to them because I don't want them waiting. And I respect them and their time. And so, yeah, so I think that that will work. So anyway, we'll jump into the questions. Fairly light crew so far this morning, so I won't get too far behind. It's actually not that bad. Pretty cool. So Dividend Dave, good morning. Good morning, Dividend Dave. I just got my first inspection report and there's a few things I want your opinion on. Could we set up a quick chat? Or can I send you the report? Any help would be great. So I would love to do that, but that is a crazy amount of time. While we have time here, you can ask the questions. That's why I want to make myself available to everybody. So I've been offered, just so you guys know, typically consulting in these roles is like $300 an hour, $350 an hour. I actually could spend this 3 hours on Sundays doing consulting. I get offered it all the time. I actually because this is really my pocket during the week when I'm not doing a Three Amigos or when I'm not doing, an update video. I only get a few hours a week to spend on YouTube. And so I want to make the biggest impact that I can. If I go down to only consulting, then that wipes out the 3 hours that I have here on Sundays or some other night during the week. It wipes that out. And it means I help fewer people. And that's not the goal. And so you're more than welcome to, Dividend Dave. If you ask the question, I'm more than happy to try and answer it. Even if it takes up a couple sections, I'm cool with that. No worries. So yeah, like I said, happy to help. But yeah, throw it in there. I just won't do anything special, like emails and review of inspection documents and things like that. Jan Santiago, good morning, Matt. How is the family? Tell us your thoughts on the next 10 days. Happy to be here. Cheers from Los Angeles. Hey, good morning, Janet. Super excited to have you here. The next 10 days are going to be interesting because that's when I think a lot of people are getting in the hurry up and wait. They're kind of waiting right now over what's going to happen. So I think that we're going to see a dip again, dip further from here, because I think we're going to lose a lot of days where transactions aren't going to happen. The rates being down significantly certainly helps. But it's a throw up ride for sure. Rates are nuts right now, and the variation of rates. Some people are above 6, some people are mid fives. It's crazy. So yeah, lots doing, but yeah, it's going to be a crazy thing to watch for sure. Give me just 1 second here. Somebody call Dion, make sure that he shows up. I mean, he's retired now, so I'm not sure if he's still sleeping. Love those guys. All right. So here we go. Doop doop doop. So yeah, so I think the next family's good, by the way, Janet. Thank you for always asking. I appreciate that. Family's doing great. We're gonna do an Eliana video probably this week. We just haven't had the time and crazy busy schedules. So give everybody an update so you can see the baby. In fact, maybe if she wakes up from her nap, we'll include that in today. And yeah, the next 10 days, I think are going to be a lot. I think you're going to be a lot of hurry up and waits. I really do. And then I think that when those numbers come out, holy cow, is that going to, I mean, man, I wish I knew. I mean, like Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. I wish I knew what that number was. Holy cow, is that going to move things? Wow. Kip Stevens, SOS Properties, top of the morning to you, sir. You as well. Hope the family as well. We are good. Thank you. As always, great content throughout the week. Love the discussions with the three amigos. Hey, thanks, Kip. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a fun week this week, but it usually is a fun week pretty much every week. Kip Stevens, SOS Property. Shark Bite is a great and quick long-term solution. Yeah, so what you'll find is a lot of plumbers hate them. And they say, well, yeah, they can pop loose and this, that, and the other. They can leak. I can't remember. I think I might have had one have that happen, but I think it was the difference of like the water being shut off at the like there was something. It was a very extenuating circumstance. Largely, I've had zero issue with shark bites, but I have a better solution than shark bites. The shark bite is the right solution for like the emergency fix, I think. I have a better long-term solution. Now, I'll preface it by saying it's not for everybody. It just isn't. It requires a more expensive tool than the one that I even showed you, the cutter, and the cutter is awesome. The cutter is absolutely the bee's knees. I love that cutting device. It's just awesome. But the solution to fixing that tool is significantly more money. But man, I love mine. I would not give mine back if you gave me the money back that I paid for it. I would not. The thing is just awesome. It's called a press fit. And I'll show you what one of those looks like, just so you see what it is. But the expectation is that, just know I'm not expecting anybody to buy any of that stuff or buy that tool specifically. The lights and things like that ups your game. But this particular tool, this is really an investment. You shouldn't be buying that unless you have a decent amount of properties, or you haven't really found a good plumber yet and they're really expensive. The way that I look at it is it depends on also, this actually does a plumbing repair the way a pro does it, better than even a pro does it, because a lot of pros will still do what's called sweating in a coupling. And that can be a straight coupling that just connects two straight pipes. That can be a 90 coupling, which is like shaped like this. That can be a 90-degree coupling and they still have to sweat it in. That's work. That's a skill. You might be able to get there. You might be able to do it. It's not rocket science, but it also is a skill. This tool makes it very simple. You pop the bottom on, you pop the top on, you put the press fittings on, and then you hit the press tool and it presses it, crimps it perfectly in place, doesn't leak. It's really kudos to Milwaukee for making just a spectacular tool. I think Rigid makes one too, but I'll be demoing that this week so you guys can see that, probably along with the shark bites, even though it's a different fitting. But I'll probably do that with you guys and just so you guys see it and know what it is and know how they work. Robert Farinelli, hello, Matt. You have been really putting out some fire videos. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's amazing what a little bit of time in the schedule will do. With Eliana finishing treatment and Ashley being able to be home more, where we're not like split squad, it's been awesome. Aside from just having them home and having them home a lot more often, that's certainly been awesome, but it definitely frees up some time, which is nice. So thank you for saying. Mandy W, good morning. Good morning, Mandy. July 20th is going to be an epic day, 30% plus or minus 5%. Yeah, I think it's going to be 30% plus or minus. Yeah. So 25 to 35. Yeah, I think it's 30. I think it's more likely 35 than it is 25. I mean, our part of the country really hasn't even had that happen yet, but I'm watching Vegas. Vegas is net adding almost 100 homes a day. Their inventory is going to have likely doubled in like a 4 to 6 week period. Gone from like 20, I think it's going to go from like 3,000 to like over 6,000 in like a 30-day period. That's nuts. That's nuts. But it hasn't really affected prices yet. There's price reductions. There's a lot of, 45% are price reduced. Yeah, off of 50% over what the last ones or what one sold for 2 years ago. So you're giving back, 20% of your 50% gain. But if you do the math, right? If you go from, call it 100 to 150, and then you're losing 20% off of that, you're still $20,000 ahead of where you were before. Just math. So hopefully I did that math right, because it is just math. Robert Farinelli, I wish that closed cell foam could be sprayed in existing walls, but looks like it's going to in my basement in the small section between the board and the ceiling, floor, and the concrete. Yeah, so that's what's called your rim joist. So where you have a concrete foundation here, you then have the wood that sits on top of it that creates your first floor. Okay. This is the stuff. If I can reach it. Oh, this is the stuff that we're talking about, closed cell foam. Now this 1 inch right here, this 1 inches actually gets you 7.5 R value. The big thing that it does is it stops all the air, and it also eliminates pests being able to get in if they are getting in around your rim joist. So this product is actually pretty awesome. It's extremely expensive, extremely expensive. Usually you're paying for this stuff by the inch. So if they look at your surface area, they figure it's 3.5 inches that they're going to have to do, or 3 inches that they're going to have to do to get your R21 value in a wall. So basically they charge by the inch, and then they multiply it by 3, and that's what the cost is. And I can't give you numbers right now because it's been too long since it's been like 18 months since I've had this stuff shot. It's expensive. It's expensive. And then this is the open cell foam. If you didn't watch the video. So this is the open cell. And this is the difference between open cell and closed cell. See, I can stick my finger all the way in. And it collapses. It's because the cells are open and so you can compress them. With this, you can't. See? Like, I got a slight divot right there. That's it. That's as far as I can go in, no matter how hard I push. Can't get it in there. This one actually also what we really like about this product in the older homes areas is that this gives a level of rigidity. So it actually, they say, the manufacturer says that it actually increases the rigidity of the shell of your home by 300%. So. And this is a little panel, and I can't snap it. So it's really strong stuff. Now imagine this being 3 inches thick. It's impressive product. It really is. I'm a huge fan of that product for sure. But yeah, rim joist, honestly, if you do the rim joist, Robert, it's worth its weight in gold. So, yep. It will absolutely change your energy bill for sure. Robert Barnes, hello there. Hey, Robert Barnes. I think you've not asked a question before, so I'm excited to have you here. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Matt Bittner, can you explain why July 20th is so significant for housing? So National Board of Realtors, it reports transactions that day. They're actually going to report transactions that day and price. It'll be interesting. I think price might still be up. Median home price might still be up, but the transactions, they're going to crash. Everywhere around the country, almost everywhere around the country, and most of the markets, because rates got into the sixes for a little while, there were a lot of transactions that slowed down and or stopped. People got unqualified for a mortgage. So transactions are going to fall off a cliff. The question is by how much? 30, 35, 40, 45, 50? It's going to come down a lot. That doesn't mean there's a housing crash. I want the transactions number, because what leads to the transactions number is then it's going to be a push for inventory. Everyone's going to say, oh no, we missed it. We got to get out there on the market right now. And then you'll start seeing people that put their houses on the market. If they have to sell, they're then going to become a desperate seller. They'll start reducing price. If they don't have to sell, they'll put it out there. It might be out there for a month. They get no showings, a few showings. They don't have to sell. They're not going to sell. If you're an agent, the most important thing that you can be doing is really qualifying your buyers or sellers. Do you have to sell, or would you like to sell? Because that's going to be the different strategy. And again, there's going to be a lot of people that want to list their homes for, March prices, that if you're an agent that values your time, don't take the listing. There's too many people that are going to take garbage listings. So that's why it's significant, Mr. Bittner. Nicodon. Hey, Don. Good morning, Matt and everyone. Good morning, Don. Robert Farinelli. In terms of soundproofing, which insulation type do you recommend ceiling with upper lower duplex? I don't recommend either of those products, actually. I actually recommend a product called Safe and Sound. It's made by the same company that makes rock salt. That product does not have R value. That has sound attenuation value. So it's called Safe and Sound. I've used it in between. The first thing that I do is I use Safe and Sound. Then I will actually plastic over the wall with 3 mil plastic, both sides. And in this case, is a ceiling. So I would do it Safe and Sound. Then I would do the plastic. And then I would do Quiet Rock. It's really, if you're redoing the ceiling. If you're really doing the ceiling, I would then do Quiet Rock. Quiet Rock is about 5 times the price of sheetrock. Normally, when you have an up-down unit, you have to use, depending on your local building code, but most states, I believe it's 5/8 that you have to use. And the main reason that is for an hour-long burn rating. Make sure it takes an hour for a fire to kind of be able to burn through that and start to get effectively through the floor and the joists. But Quiet Rock is what I like to use. It's a very expensive product. It's about 5 or 6x the cost of sheetrock. But I'll have a piece. We're doing a project currently. I'll have a piece that I can show you guys. But basically, it's a 1/2 inch of sheetrock with a membrane that splits the middle, and then has another 1/2 piece of sheetrock, so it's an inch thick. It weighs an absolute ton. You can only carry 1 sheet at a time, and it's 2 people carrying 1 sheet at a time. It's very heavy, but if you put that on both sides of that party wall, or if you put it on your ceiling, that's probably, and I would also probably put, I would probably also strap the ceiling. They have special hangers that you can use, metal hangers, that are really good because it's all about vibration. So yeah, I've actually had it where you couldn't hear upstairs at all. Also, when I've redone the floors upstairs and a top bottom, I've used there's a special kind of insulate that you can use underneath LVP, laminate vinyl plank. There's a special insulate that you can use that is actually sound deadening. Normal underlayment for those, some people use like onion paper. I don't really like that. I like there to be some sort of a cushion there. And so you can kind of get the cheaper stuff for like 30 to 40 bucks a roll. Then you can get some like antimicrobial stuff that's usually 50 or 60 bucks a roll. And then you can get, and that has some sound deadening quality to it. If you want the best sound deadening quality stuff there is out there, it's about $1 a square foot. You can get a roll. It's about 3 feet across. It's like 33 feet long or 34 feet long. And it's like $100 a roll. So it ends up being right around $1 a foot, square foot. But that's the stuff that I then, because you're only as strong as your weakest link, but that's the differences. The other thing that I do too is any pipes that pass through the unit up to the other floor, I will also put the safe and sound in there. But I'll also put some great stuff in there too, and then cut it back, just because any noise is going to find its pocket. It's kind of like water. So let me know if that helps you, Mr. Farinelli. Tamika L, always great to see you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tamika. Excited to have you. Tamika, traveling the world. John Williams, Vegas is a winter home, right? Yep. Oh yeah. How much of your buy box is influenced by what Mrs. Lumberjack wants in a home? So Mrs. Lumberjack kind of does whatever Mr. Lumberjack asks, because she likes making decisions based on data. So what I do is I try and narrow it down to, we work as a great team, because I try and narrow it down from 100 down to like 3 or 4. And then it's kind of like, okay, any of those 3 or 4, all of those numbers work. And then for her, it's okay, what fits. So as it is right now, I kind of look at it daily. And then like every 2 or 3 days, I'll send her one where I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And hey, what do you think about this? And then that's kind of getting us to a point where we're kind of fine tuning exactly what we're going to get. So ideally, we'll do a project out there. My preference is to build value. But if I find the right house that's just way discounted, I can be convinced to not do any of the work. I just don't want to pay for the work. My preference is to get something that was, built in the early 90s. That's a ton of square footage, ugly cabinets, ugly kitchen counters, ugly flooring, hollow core doors. That's my hope. That's my hope. And then I'll go there and I'll make it beautiful. We will do a before and after for that, for sure. So I think the big thing for us, the big criteria that we have is just big bedroom count, big enough bathroom count, and a pool with at least some sort of a yard. And then just, the areas that we're looking in are Summerlin and Desert Shores. Those are the 2 areas that we're focused on now. And if it gets really bad out there, like if they revisit, crazy stuff like 08, which I don't think they will, but if they revisit and, test it at 30 or 40% off, yeah, I mean, I'll buy a $2 million home for $1.2 million for sure. But yeah, it'll be a winter house. We'll be there for probably 4 months, is my guess. That's my guess. I'm still buying and refinancing properties at 7.125% interest rates. Interesting. What state, Robert? Let me know. Dividend Dave, thanks for letting me know. I figured that was a long shot, but you never know until you ask. Totally agree. The issues, needs a new roof. And over the past couple of years, there's been a few occasions, sewage backing up in the toilet and tub. I'm concerned more about the expense of the sewer stuff. They are on city water and sewer. Yeah, I bet they are. So what you want to do is in your inspection, did you ask, hold on 1 second here. Sorry. In the inspection, did you ask to camera the line? That's one of my rules. And if you didn't, I get it. You probably didn't see the video, but that's one of my rules. I camera that line because it's $200. So I camera that line. If you're worried about backups and all they said was something about backups, you must camera that line. It's usually $200 or $300 to camera the line. And they'll camera it from the house all the way out. You need to see, tell me what state you're in, Dividend Dave. I think you're in Washington or Oregon. But you need to know that that line's not collapsed. Because if that line's collapsed, or you have something called Burma coat, which is literally paper that's been rolled in tar. Who thought that was a great idea? Oh, but it's so inexpensive to implement. You still have to dig up the ground, and it's not going to last forever. It's paper getting wet with sewage. Ay, caramba, people. I want to meet the guy who thought that that was okay, because we get that a lot here. And it's just like, and big surprise, all that stuff is causing problems. Like, honest to God. So yeah, I'm sure they're on city water and sewer. Let me know if you got the line camera and if you saw that. Keith Hager, Looney Tunes, retirement almost here. True on the 10 days. Yeah, we will see. We will see. And my retirement is almost here. Only guy not retired. I thought you guys might enjoy that. Yeah, I'll be retired soon enough. It's fine. It's fine. I'm only 45, so it's fine. If I'm in this, I don't expect to be in this for in 2023, really. But if something happens in life or whatever, and we pivot, like we pivot, I'm not married to any date. Robert Fairnley. So when you were talking with Michael and Simon about rental assistance distortion, which properties do you think are most at risk? And yeah, SNHS is looser there, 8 to 10 weeks late on checks. Yeah, that's a problem. My group isn't. My group isn't that late on checks. They actually do a very much better job of recertification and managing that process. I'm hoping to get her on the channel. I really want her to come on the channel because she's been the difference maker of why I allowed for more of my units to go that direction, was because she was so good. She was just so unbelievably good at kind of managing the whole process. Give me just 1 second here. Oh. Sorry. Had to make sure that wasn't an emergency. Not an emergency. I saw an X-ray. Like, no. Yeah. It was somebody reposting something. So I work in healthcare. So I was just making sure it wasn't an issue. Yeah, they're 8 to 10 weeks late. I think the distortion, I think the ones that are the most at risk are the ones that were in apartment complexes, because I think that they're going to have a whole bunch of people not be able to pay, and then it's going to jam the courts with evictions. And the government wonders why they are losing units when they act like that. Yeah, I mean, I think that the challenging thing is that, you know, all of these groups that were put in charge of managing this stuff on a county basis, some counties are better than others, some have better process than others. If you think that's bad, talk to people in California. Talk to people in a lot of other states around this country. Oh, man, my phone's blowing up and none of it is contractors. So I think that, yeah, look at how other states did in getting their funds out. They didn't even do that well. 8 to 12 weeks, they didn't even do that well. There were a lot that were way slower than that. There's one where I know out in California, I've spoken with a few people that are 9 months in and they still haven't gotten a check yet. It's insane. Let's see. Yeah, Dion, I saw that you showed up. Look at the name on the screen, bro. Pink Panther. That's what I'm going to start calling Dion, Pink Panther. Theta Hedge, morning, everyone. Good morning, Theta Hedge. Kip Stevens. PressFit is also a great product. We use them as well. Thank you, Kip. Yeah, I agree. As a wholesaler and investor, Vegas is going to be a hot market in a few months. True story. It's a hot market now. If you're a seller, you're trying to get rid of it. But yeah, I'm so psyched about it. Honestly, like, I'm not rooting for other people's demise, but Dion. This is the fun that we have together. That's Dion. Yeah, he sent me the Pink Panther. He's promised, he's followed up. Thank you, Dion. So I think that yeah, Vegas, I think, is gonna be awesome. And thanks for saying on the PressFit. I mean, PressFit, right? Kip, like, that's expensive. It's like a couple $1,000 for one of those tools. And then, like, each one of these connectors, these are what the connectors look like, guys. This is a end cap. Let's take it out. Sorry, I know that's all right in the mic. Sorry, guys. I'm so unprofessional sometimes. Oh, and I'm such an idiot. I already had one out. Yeah. So this is a press fit. See that big ridge? So what you do is you slide this on the pipe, then you put the press fit tool on there, and it literally crimps it onto the pipe with like, I forget, I think it's like, is it 900 pneumatic or some, I can't remember the number of pneumatic pounds, but, or the PSI, but it crushes it onto the pipe, basically press fits it on. And then that thing's not coming off. That thing's not coming off. So what's really cool about that is that that's how a lot of pros are doing it now, because you'd be surprised how many plumbing guys aren't really good at sweating soldering, sweating a valve or soldering a valve. So yeah, big difference. Mandy W, do you have any recommendations for vinyl flooring? What should I look for when buying and what should I stay away from? Mandy, I do. You need to give, I haven't done a video on this yet because I keep on meaning to reach out. I had a contact that I had made for you guys named Marty the Flooring Guy. They still sell, so American Flooring Corporation. Mandy, I owe them a call actually tomorrow. I think I gave some samples to, I gave some samples to somebody. But American Flooring Corporation, they have a bunch of different options, bunch of different colors, things like that. You know, give them 4 or 5 colors that you want. They'll put together a package for you. That was something I'd worked out with them. 725, or sorry, I'll give you the phone number. It's at minute 36 of the live stream. 725-212-8610. 8610. Marty the Flooring Guys who used to be there. I'll have a name tomorrow for you guys. I'll post it in a video. Really good guy. Did a lot of great things for us. Really took care of us cost wise. I'm trying to set something up more. So anyway, so we'll see. We will see. But yeah, that's I really like their commercial stuff that is 9 inches across and comes in like 4 or 5 foot planks. I really like that product. I'll do a video on that this week for you so you can see it. A lot of the big box store brands I stay away from. And this product, the reason why I selected this, the reason why I know not to go to a big box store is because their product price is about $1 a foot less. So if you're doing 750 feet, $750. This is also superior product for about $1 less a foot, square foot. So every night is Friday night. I know, Dion. Every night is Friday night. But see, what you don't know is Friday nights. Actually, I do kind of like Friday nights now that I think about it. But every day being Saturday, I am not interested in that. I work my butt off on Saturday. After we do yard selling with the kids. Robert Farinelli, I'm thinking of DIY, the closed cell foam. I see it. Nope, don't do it. Nope. Different. It's a different product. Don't do it. Nope, don't do it. Yeah, so Robert, I wouldn't do the spray it yourself stuff. I haven't liked that. That product is nowhere near as good as that product. It's just not. The type of machines that thing, like literally the machine that sprays that stuff is $50,000. You're not going to get anywhere near the same effect of the one that you're going to buy, which is like pump, 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 pump. It's nowhere near the quality of product. It's not even close. So yeah, nope. I also really need to remember the foam product that was used for the walls where blown-in fiberglass settled. Yeah. Or do you have a better idea of how to handle a wall with existing blown-in fiberglass that it's settled? Yeah, so I would just have them bring in closed cell and hard pack it. I mean, not closed cell. I would have them just bring in the cellulose and hard pack it. That's what I've done. So sometimes where you've had stuff and it's kind of settled in the wall, if they just go in there and then just hard pack it. I haven't done any of the fill the void. So they have like something that they can do what's called a pour, where they can pour a hole and they can put the tube in and they basically pour it full. They tried that for a number of years, but there were pockets it was leaving. My understanding is the new product isn't like that, but I have not done the experiment yet because I will experiment. I'm actually going to put plastic on a wall. I want to put actual plexiglass on a wall, and I want them to fill it. And I want to have a junction box in there, and I want to have the holes not filled down to the first floor, because a lot of the old houses, they didn't do that. So I'm going to test that. We haven't gotten to it yet because we're too busy with actual projects right this second. So I'm not sure. G Glover, hey, how's it going? It's going really well. Good to have you here, G. Sam Farho, morning, Matt and all. Morning, Sam. Robert Farinelli, that was very helpful, but anything I can do for soundproofing without knocking down existing ceiling? Nope. Nope. There's literally nothing you can do to make it quieter upstairs, unless you do the floor and you do that sound deadening stuff. That's it. That's it. You can drop, and you can do an acoustic ceiling where you have something drop 6 inches into the room. So you could do like metal bars and then the tiles. So you could do that acoustic ceiling, and then you can put the safe and sound sitting on top of that. Don't love it. Don't love it. It's a messy job. And that job will probably cost you $3,000. Yeah, it'll probably cost you $3 or $4,000. It's cheaper to just rip down the ceiling and redo it that way. And it's better. It's a better solution. So that's the only other option there is. There really isn't a great one without ripping it open. Trying to set my name for your new channel. Into is good choice for the name. I'm trying to set my name for your new channel. Oh, Into is a good choice for the name. Yeah, so you can do, you can send it to my email, lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com, or just post it on the video on Mike's channel. One rental at a time. It was a Three Amigos video where we talked about the channel being renamed. I'm still the Lumberjack Landlord. I'm our only guy not retired. So yeah, that's what it's going to be. So we're still figuring that out. Robert Farinelli, that was very helpful. Oh no, nope, already read that one. PJ Gillespie. Hey, PJ, didn't you have a question for me, PJ? I think you did. If you did, just ask it and I will answer it. I think I pushed off to this because I wanted to answer your question, but it was too long. It was too long for me to answer. So if I'm happy to answer any questions on here. If I get asked a question and it's in the comments somewhere and it's like this big, long, drawn out where I got to talk for 2 or 3 minutes, I'm not that good of a typer. And so yeah, you're better off coming here, asking the question, and then I'll answer it for you. Happy to do it. Nicodon, I had to give a buyer a $6,800 concession for a bad sewer line on a fourplex I sold in December of 2020. Yeah, it happens all the time, right? And 6,800, honestly, Don, like that's probably a little bit light. Like I think you did well giving them only 6,800. I do. I think, we had to do 2 lines on properties next to each other that we owned. The city wanted $18,000 for the permit because we had to cut into the road. I had to fight with them. I did. I won. And so I got away with paying a permit of $600 instead of $17,000. Yep. I should probably do a video on that now that I think about it. So I probably will do a video on that. Sandy, good morning. Good morning, Sandy. Hey, Sandy, thanks for watching all my video stuff this week and all the thumbs up. I appreciate you. Elise, fire me, please. I love it. Good morning from Los Angeles. Good morning, Elise. Digital Sparks, how hard did the CDC's rent mandate hit property owners with renters who are not on government assistance, assuming that they had the property mortgaged and depended on rent to pay their loans? Hold on one second. Contractor. That's the 160-year-old house 4-unit that we're redoing. We're just doing electrical layouts. So Digital Sparks. So thanks for being new to the channel. Appreciate your question. It really depends. So we didn't get hit in that first wave. We really didn't in New Hampshire. We didn't get hit really hard because our state fought pretty hard to stay open and we were not closed for very long. And the parts of the state that were closed, they were the non-essential, but there was a lot of essential. All construction was still essential. All maintenance was still, like, a lot of things were exempted. So we had still a pretty large part of our economy open. In other states, it was worse, much worse, but I can only tell you about my state. So in that initial piece, we had 2 people that weren't paying, one that could, one that couldn't. Almost all of my properties are not owned by the federal government, so they're not backed by Fannie Freddie. That's one of the differences. That was the criteria for part of it, was if they were a Fannie Freddie backed loan, that you were basically having to listen to them because they owned the paper on your loan. Banks own a lot of my paper or a lot of my mortgages, and so they didn't have the same rules because they're private rules. They're different. But it did impact. The thing that it impacted most was attitude. That's the thing. Because we, one person could pay, they made it 15 months not paying. We did, and we had 2 tenants. One of them really legitimately couldn't pay, lost her job. And so we worked with her. We just worked with her and just said, okay, and so we just worked with them. For almost all of our tenants, actually, we didn't charge any late fees. And there were probably, I don't know, $50,000 or $60,000 in late fees that we waived. 40 or $50,000 in late fees, now that I think about it. And we just constantly work with people, but we get out in front of it. We had a letter out to people when they shut things down. We had a letter out to people right away. Please, we want health and your safety first. And we basically just detailed a letter talking about health and safety first. Please understand that if something non-emergency breaks, we don't want to put you at risk. We don't want to put a maintenance person or a supplier at risk to have to go into the unit. So please, let us know that something is broken. We'll certainly take care of it, but we'll have to coordinate something that's far different than what it normally would be, which is you're not in the house, they're masked and coming in the house and all taken care of. So we really talked about, like, our tenants are people because they are. And so we really just it was just a lot more conversation is really what it was. It was just having a lot more conversations. And then there was just one person who took advantage of the system. And as soon as I was able to get them evicted, I did. And that was wonderful. Yep. Okay, we're good for tomorrow. I can look at it tomorrow. So there are still areas like Los Angeles that still has an eviction moratorium until 2023. Frankly speaking, a lot of people don't remember this, but the assistance came way too late. The assistance came way too late. I had a couple banks that were like, nope, we're not doing anything. Figure it out. Because I had to ask. I went through 2008, and so I was trying to get in front of it, just saying, hey, what's going to be your option? What are we going to be able to do here? We didn't know exactly how bad it was going to be. And so when we got a phone call saying, we need you to tell us right now, yes or no. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the ramification if I say yes? They're like, you get assistance or you get a forbearance on your mortgage. And if I said, what if I say no? They said, we still expect payment in full next month. And if we don't get it, then it's late. And I said, okay, well, I don't know how bad it's going to get. I don't know if, like, look at Grant Cardone's face in like spring of 2020. He was scared. You could see it in his face. He was scared with good reason, with the hundreds and hundreds and thousands. I think he had 7,000 units at the time, or 6,000 units. 20% of those don't pay. You're in oopsie land. And so everyone was scared. And so I just talked to the bank and I said, there's no penalty to getting on it. I can get off of it anytime I want. And they're like, yep, sure. I said, okay. So they were saying, but we're doing it for 90 days because we don't have the time to make all these phone calls all again. So there was one bank that I did it, or I did it with a bank, on, I think a couple of loans. I don't remember. It was 2 years ago now, but I think we did with a couple of loans. But after the 90 days was up, they said, hey, do you want to renew? And I was like, I do not want to renew. it wasn't the problem that we thought it was going to be. Our tenants largely have still been able to pay rent. And so, nope, we don't want it. And they said, okay. And so then we just worked through the process of basically paying back the old payments, because we still actually, we were collecting those rents still. We were still setting aside that money. And so it was still owed. So we just paid that. But like I said, we ended up not needing it. Let's see. So owners with renters were not on government assistance, assuming that they had property and mortgage dependent. Yep. Yeah. So digital, let me know if that answers your question, because I want to make sure I really answered everything there in the question, because there is a lot there, but I want to make sure I answered everything for you. Santi, ProPress. Yeah, you're a plumber, aren't you, Santi? Soldering continues to be the number one choice for quality. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I've just never had a ProPress. I've never had a shark bite blow off or leak, and I've never had a ProPress blow off or leak. So long as I can, and now that's between the two, I've been using them for 10 years. I've never had one, and I've got some, I mean, I've got them in a number of different places. So far, so good. And truth be told, it's because I suck at soldering. I couldn't get good at it. I guess I could, but it was just painful. A lot of times I'd burn the insulation. It is a skill, Santi. You plumbers just don't get that. It's a skill. I'm not good enough at it. Yes, copper fittings are getting crazy expensive, but still worth working with it. Yep, absolutely. Don, have you had any issues? The LVT coming apart? No. LVP? No. The only issue that we did have was, so we've got probably 5,000 or 6,000 feet of this stuff installed. The only issue that we had was an install issue. Near a door, they didn't properly level the floor. And so it was like there was flex every single time it was getting stepped on that seam. And so those edges have eroded, but we popped out those pieces. We shimmed the floor, put new pieces down, no issue since. So yeah, we've definitely, we saw that. And then now it's been not bad. Sam Farho, a tenant wants 15 days to arrange their move to my house before the lease starts. How would you go about that to help them? Any option that still protects me? I mean, the minute that you put something in that house, you are taking possession of it. Period. You really have to depend on, yeah, like that's just ridiculous. Like, get your act together, right, Mr. Tenant? I would probably like, and also like, so I don't get rent for 2 weeks while you're moving in. It's your, so once they've moved anything in there, it's their domain. It's under their possession, you know? So I would have that conversation with them. Is the concern about Sam, is the concern about money? Like, tell me what the concern is there. Santi, you can use CPVC, but CPVC will only last. Yeah, I don't like CPVC. No, I do not like the CPVC stuff. I've had some CPVC and stuff. And so for those of you who don't know, it's like a smaller, it's like a water pipe version of PVC, but it's smaller, and it actually comes with a lot of, connector kits and connector stuff. All the couplings, all the different couplings that you need. You can find it at any Home Depot or Lowe's. I didn't really like the CPVC. And then using all the different, glues that you use to put it all kind of together, and then the different hangers. I still much prefer PEX. If we're going to go that route, I would just rather go PEX. And you can buy like, the different tools that you need for PEX. You can buy those much less expensively now, because you can buy them used and things like that. Like I was doing PEX 15 years ago. Santi, polybutylene. Do you remember that stuff? I think that's how you say it. Polybutylene, right? Price and Pride, do you have any tips to get the LVP to have flush transitions between rooms? I mean, aside from using like a flush cut saw, that's the only way that we do it, is a flush cut saw. And then we actually will carry the flooring. We'll pick a direction and we'll carry that flooring through the house that way, that direction. Usually it's entryway door lengthwise is usually how we do it. We don't go crossway. So usually wherever you're entering in the front entryway, we're usually going that way lengthwise. Long plank that way makes it feel bigger and more grand. And so then we're just literally, we're going through the different doorways. So the only thing that we do is we'll put it on the ground, we'll flush cut it, and then we'll fit the piece in. So it's actually underneath the door jamb and pushed right and clipped into the piece. That's how we do it. Robert Barnes, South Carolina. Okay, hold on. Oh, that's so your rates set. Okay. If you were in my area, I could turn you on to a different bank. I would talk to Robert Barnes. I would talk to Matt, the mortgage guy. Tell him the lumberjack sent you. I would talk to him. He does loans in South Carolina. I would reach out to him. I think you could get a massive amount of value because I think it's in the sevens is too high. Sevens might have been if you started the process maybe 4 weeks ago at the very, very, very peak. But there's deals right now happening in the sixes for investors. Sevens also sounds like non-QM money. You can let me know if it's non-QM or not. Matthew Paris, good morning, howdy. Kip Stevens, at Sanity, at Sanity, yep. We are repiping a lot of properties with PAX pipe, yep, PEX, yep. A lot more economical and very time saving, have had no problem for the last 5 years. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. For sure. It wants me to, I don't know, to figure out what that feature is. I don't know what that feature is. It scares me. If I press it, I want to lose everybody. Cassidy Ironman, good morning, Dr. Lumberjack. Good morning, Cassidy. I'm not to be confused with a doctor. I didn't even go to college. Santee, I don't really use PEX pipe. PEX, yeah. South Florida. Yep. And have not seen in a long run, 20 years plus. I cannot really tell you about the quality. The uses of all the plastic is chemicals and composition. Yeah, there haven't been any, I mean, so PEX is big up here because copper fittings pop, that it's probably an environment thing, but I will take PEX over copper all day long. Cost, time, quality. And I've never had PEX pop a coupling in a freeze. And I have had that happen a number of times with copper because it's more rigid than PEX. PEX is more forgiving. Devo. Hey, Devo. Would you consider yield? Would you consider yield on first rental? Current primary would totally cash flow. Real question is, can I afford the new house? Not anywhere near enough data there, Devo. Not anywhere near enough data. To give you an idea, like for friends of mine, when I sit down with them, I spend a half an hour to an hour going through everything and then just talking about if this were this, how would that make you feel? If this were that, how would that make you feel? So I would love to answer your question. There's not nearly enough data there for me to answer the question. It's there's about 30 to 40 more data points I would need. Santee, if I keeping a property for 30 to 50 years, I would do 100% copper for water pipe system. You're in Florida. Yeah, I wouldn't. Especially, I don't know about down there, but up here you have really, really hard water, and you'll find the hard water because we're in the granite state. So radon levels are high. I mean, there's just, not a fan of the copper. It's nice, but I still would prefer my PEX. Anything hard piped. Let's see. Anything hard piped around a boiler, copper. One second. Sorry. Kip Stevens, Santee, what part of South Florida? Let's see, sorry. Close, sorry, stuff just popping up everywhere. Miami-Dade, okay. Yeah, see, I think yeah, sorry. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I'm going to read everything. I just wanted to kind of complete the question so I could answer. So Kip Stevens asked what part of South Florida for Santee. If you guys are looking at the comments, it says Miami-Dade. So that's like the very, very, very southernmost. You're not getting freezes there. Copper is very, very different in cold weather. It's very different. It's much less forgiving, and you get cracks and splits and leaky pipes. It's much harder to unfreeze. Yeah, it can be a real problem. So my preference for waterline is absolutely PEX. Yep, it absolutely is. And if you're worried about the chemicals and things like that, in the pipe, if you leave your faucet on for 5 seconds, any of the water that was sitting in that pipe, or 7 seconds or 10 seconds, any of that pipe water that was sitting in the pipe anyway, it's gone. It's gone, if that's the concern. I'd be far more concerned about the 100-year-old pipe that they have in the street, or the 75-year-old pipe that they have in the street. That's what we'd be more concerned with that's carrying. But I'm on a well. Most of my stuff is city water, but we're on a well. And so we have our water tested every 18 months. Just for sanity check. Jesse Mao. Hey, Jesse Mao, thanks for coming. Have you done any solar on your properties? I have done the numbers probably every 3 or 4 years for the last 15 years. And it has never, ever made financial sense. It's never made sense financially. The best and fastest return that I ever saw, which was based on doing solar and then having the tenant basically pay me an electrical fee, not pay for electric, but an electrical fee. It was the best was a 10-year return, and that was with getting a bunch of rebates from the government. And 10-year return is just nowhere near good enough. Nowhere near good enough, because my other option is I can buy another house and get a far greater return on that money than I can anything else. So yeah, it's 10 years at the very best with a million incentive programs applied to it. Without the incentive programs, it's more like between 18 and 21 years. So it's not anywhere near it. Not anywhere near it. But thanks for asking. I would love to. In all honesty, I would love to. I would love to wake up tomorrow and have that make sense. Because if that made sense, I would literally do it on all 39 of our buildings. I would love to do it. I would love to do it. Absolutely love to do it. My dad actually worked for the electric company for 35 years. Sorry, Dad. So I would love to do it. I'd love to have my own little power plant on every single house. And the other thing that changed too was the rules. When you created energy on your panels and then fed it back into the line, they basically would unwind what you spent. So you were basically selling it back to them for exactly what you were paying for it. Guess what? Now it's like a 20th as much. So you can bring power back into the line, but you're not getting any real credit for it. And the problem still with this stuff is storage. It's the real issue is storage, and then space for the batteries. You can look at panels from 20 years ago and they still have 92% of the efficiency that they had 20 years ago, still 92% now. Think about how great that is. Think about the engineering there and how well that's made. But yeah, the problem is the dollars and cents are just, they do not make sense on any level whatsoever. Like I said, if I was lucky enough and got all of these different federal grants and all these different tax incentives and all of this stuff, it was still, over 10 years, it was still going to take for me to get the money back. It's just too much. Pallavi Patel. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Pallavi. Santee, I will keep the thumbs up to help you with the YouTube algorithm until I see 100 plus comments on your video is at least I can do to help the three amigos. Thanks, Santi. I appreciate it. Kip Stevens, we are 4 months behind on checks disbursement. Yep, from the government assistance program here in California. So Robert, so Farinelli, there you go. That's what I was talking about. There's some places that are, like I said, 9 months behind. I know that. And eviction is becoming a problem. Cassidy, I've got tenants that need to have their adult daughter move in for 2 to 3 months. I'm fine with it, as they are great. How do I cover myself from a liability perspective? Lease addendum? Yes. Make sure that she is added to the lease. Absolutely, 100%. And make sure that she's added for that 3 months and not for 6 months, not in perpetuity. That, basically, and talk to your attorney. But I would, if it's 3 months, then it's 3 months, period. And then if they need to come back, then you can say, 3 months, I was willing to do it. But if water and sewer are really expensive, like they are in my areas, I just say, listen, we had the same thing happen. We had a tenant that came to us and said, hey, this is what we want to do. My sister really needs to move in with us. She's having some life issues. And I was like, okay. She's like, oh, so it's okay. And I was like, no, I'm saying, okay, tell me the rest of the story. They said, oh, she's only going to be here for, 3 months until she gets on her feet. And I said, okay. So we did a 3-month addendum, but also said, hey, for the 3 months that she's there, $100 extra a month to cover water, sewer, the extra wear and tear, the extra spot in the parking lot, making it more difficult for us to clear it with snow. It was adding more work, time, effort, and energy to us managing. And so they did that. And then big surprise, after the 3 months, she's still there. I said, okay, well, then we'll just augment the lease and just say it expires when it expires next year. We're out the $100. And they were fine with that. They're like, yep, that's fair. So they have to pay something, because another person taking showers, using the toilet, extra parking spot, that much more, another, 2 adults going to 3 adults, like that's 50% more use. The heating system is going to run more, even though they're paying for the heat, it's still going to run more because they don't have all the same schedules. So that's what I did. Short-term addendum, and with an extra cost. That's what I did. I don't know if that's legal in your state, but that's what I did. And it worked out really well. Santi, Cassidy, Ireland. One thing I will do when I get seriously to provided rent property to people is sit down with an eviction law firm, get my contract ready, and all questions make life easy for me. Yeah. So Santi, one of the things that we do is I actually look, if you guys want to totally cheat, here's an awesome hack. Go to your courthouse where they do evictions. You can go right to the clerk. You can say, is there a docket that shows the list of evictions that are happening? And then just ask them for the days that those happen. And if you can look at the records for the last 30 days, look at the name that's on there the most, or the top 2 or 3 that are on there the most, and then call those offices, because then they're familiar being attorneys for landlords. They're familiar with the court process. This is not something that they're doing for you because they handle other business for you. They are specifically eviction and attorneys for landlords. That's how I did it. I found this one guy. He was like on the docket. There were like 18 or 19 that day, and he was on there for 6 of them. So I sat there in the court and I watched him, and I was like, this dude's a baller. He is awesome. He is awesome. The judge will always push you back and say, I want you guys to try and work something out before you come in here. So we hired him. We had this one tenant that was a huge problem. We hired him. He goes, okay, let's just go down and let's just grab this little room over here. Let's just have a little chat. And so the woman was like, oh yeah, we can totally pay all that amount. He's like, but you haven't. He goes, so let's just listen. You don't want to be here. I saw the text message that you sent to him. You hate the place. You hate him. You don't want to be here. So let's just put something in place that gives us enough time that you guys have enough time to get out. What do you think would be fair? And she acquiesced. She's like, well, I really need 30 days to get out. He goes, all right, then let's do this. He goes, just for the next 30 days, every Friday, we just take your rent and we split it into 4 weekly payments over the next month. And he's like, just pay that payment. And then if you're good, then that will give you time to get out of the place. You don't have to come up with a big lump sum. And he goes, is that fair? Is that a fair way to do it? She's like, you do that? And the attorney looks at me and he just looks at me and I was like, yeah, we'll do that. And then he's like, okay, sounds good. So he writes it all up. And then he's like, hey, just so you know, if you don't make that payment, like then at that point, you're clearly not working with us anymore. And so it just makes sense for us to be able to then evict you. Right. And she was like, well, no, I don't like that at all. And he goes, well, that's part of the deal. He's like, we're not talking about all the other money owed. We're talking about just being current in this moment. And so it was a little bit of back and forth, but then she agreed to it. She paid the first 2 weeks, didn't pay the third week. I notified him. He notified the sheriff. I think within 72 hours, they were out there serving papers and basically saying, nope, writ of possession, get your act together. You have 10 minutes to get a bunch of stuff in a bag, and then you have 7 days to get the rest of your stuff out. And that has to be set up with the landlord. It worked. Like if you aren't a landlord if you are an attorney for landlords, you wouldn't have done any of that stuff. They're just different. So kudos to him, Sean. I mean, he's one of the best. He's phenomenal. I really loved working with him. Thankfully we didn't have that many evictions, so we didn't have to work with him that often, which was the nice thing. So yeah, but I also have my lease from my attorney. Here's what's really awesome. Once you talk to them and you give them a retainer to be your attorney, here's what's really cool. You say, I always wanted to find out that the attorney also owned units themselves. If they own units themselves, then they wrote a lease. They're an attorney. What do we all know that an attorney is going to do? If he owns unit, he's going to write the lease. What do we also know? That he's writing the lease with all of the laws that he knows that take into account, and he knows exactly how to defend his lease. So when I found an attorney I really liked, I then said, I would like to use you for my business moving forward. That said, I need to know what type of a lease that you're using so I can make sure to always set you up for the win. He's like, so what do you want? I was like, I want to see your lease. So he's like, okay. And then I saw his lease, I read it, and I was like, man, this thing is like nuts. This is perfect. And it was all well explained. It was all fair and equitable. None of it was crazy, over the top, goofy stuff. He goes, the judge respects that we are just honest and forthright with no goofy stuff in there. I said, yeah, that makes sense. So I said, hey, can I have this lease and use it? I said, the good news is that I know that you know how to defend the lease. And so I would use you for my evictions moving forward. He's like, yeah, sounds good. That works. Gave me the lease. I didn't pay a penny for it. Okay, tell me how awesome that idea was. That idea is killing. The sewer lines weren't scoped, but I'm within my due diligence period and I'm getting a guy out there to do that. Yeah, I would do that, Dividend Dave, because seeing is believing. If that was just like sometimes it can be a backflow issue from the street, I would absolutely have it cameraed. It's probably $200 to $400 because it's a separate line item now that they have to come back out. But if that's enough, but it could be that bad. Worst case is, going into it how bad it is, and they're not going to give you any credit. Best case is they give you some sort of a big credit. You get a couple of quotes in line and understand what that is. Go to national chains to get the quotes because their quotes are going to be the highest by far. Local guys will always be significantly less expensive than the national chains because they don't have all the fees associated with their business and doing that work. But sort of, if it's a $10,000 or $12,000 problem, you want to know that now. And at least get some credit back. And if you don't get enough credit back, then maybe the deal doesn't make sense anymore, but that's really up to you to run those numbers. But hopefully that helps. Buying in North Carolina. Where? North Carolina is huge. Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro. Where? Hilton Head, Chapel Hill, High Point, Hickory. I think that's all I know off the top of my head. Santi at Dividend Dave, what happened with your sewer lines? Oh yeah, Santi would know. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Holy cow, I got far behind. Sorry, guys. So far behind. Oh my goodness gracious me. Man, you guys are kicking butt today. I love it. Oh, I got so far behind. Okay, here we go. At Dividend Dave, what happened to your sewer lines? Don't know. Yep, he's got to get it checked out. Yes. Robert Barnes, do you 7.125 is too expensive for 30-year amortization? I think it depends. So I would just shop that number because I think that you'll find better. I think like 7.125, it depends. If it's a non-QM loan, then you're probably 30-year AM at 7.125. If it's a regular bank, go to a local bank or a credit union. If you're under 10 mortgages, go to local bank or a credit union and ask them what their rates are. Just say, I know I can't hold you to this, but I just need to know ballpark. If I have this much of a credit score and this is the property and it's already been appraised, what would you be looking at for a 30-year rate? I would just make a bunch of calls on that before you. Too many people don't really shop mortgages. You really got to shop them, guys. You got to shop them, because there also might be an option that you find somebody else that's 675, but they'll allow you to buy down the points. Like there's all sorts of options out there. So really going into it, you got to shop those mortgages. I would, even in South Carolina, I would reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy, tell him the lumberjack sent you. He'll take care of you. He's done a great job for anybody I've sent his way. That's the only reason I continue to send his people his way. Digital Sparks, absolutely. Thanks. I'm happy to help you, Digital Sparks. I appreciate you showing up today and asking questions. You'd be surprised how many people show up and don't ask questions. And normally I'm not this bad at getting to them, but I'm getting to them as fast as I can. Industrial electrician, thinking about investing in a few duplex units to supplement my income, and watching your videos, it's been a huge help. You're very welcome, Digital Sparks. I would encourage you to do that. My one of my students, industrial electrician, just got his journeyman's. He's 26 years old and he bought a fourplex. He lives there for free and he gets paid $800 a month to live there. Can't make this stuff up. He makes a week's pay. He makes a week's pay after taxes. He makes a week's pay just living in that building, and he doesn't have any rent. Like, this is how awesome life can be. So I'm glad that they're helpful to you. And the other thing too, so trades guys, you guys know in the business, right? You trade, you swap labor, with plumbers, you swap labor with carpenters. And then you're just buying materials and you're just swapping labor. Like, guys, that is where it's at. That is absolutely where it's at. That's where, for me, it's like if people want to get into real estate, like, I'm more than happy to spend time with them on that stuff. But I'm like, listen, just, do this for me or do that for me. Like, let's just work out something equitable. Because again, I try to tell them, I was like, you don't understand. Like, I get offers all the time for $300 an hour to consult on real estate transactions. And I said, so the $75 an hour I'm paying you, like, I'm getting 4 of those hours, but I don't do a trade like that. I'll still just spend time with them. Relationship. So it's relational. Kip Stevens, at Dividend Dave, yes, get that scoped ASAP and always spend the money to get it scoped before any investment. Yep. Yeah, it can be really expensive. The issue with pre-press is that it is new, so it does not have 50 years behind it. Yep, and proof of the rubber ring will not go off. Totally agree with you. Yep. For example, robber rins cannot handle hot water. Yep. If you install any flexible supply connect, the water heater is less than 8 years, your faucets will start pouring black stuff out. Okay. I don't know what robber rins. I don't know what that is. Sam Farho, how do you check if AC is working well in the heat of summer? How do you test it? I'm still under warranty, so they can replace it for free. See how cold. So you can get a one of those things right from Home Depot, those $15 like shoot at it laser thermostat things. You can shoot at it and see how cold the air is pouring out. If it's lukewarm air, then you have probably a refrigeration problem. If it's cold air, but it's not blowing hard enough, you probably have a fan problem. But that's what I would do. I would shoot at it with a thermometer, with one of those specifically made, but they do make those for that. Building Elise, fire me, please. Building an ADU now for water pipe. Do you prefer copper or PEX? My preference is PEX. It's copper around the heating system. It's copper off of the hot water tank, but then into PEX. Like PEX is run throughout the house. Copper is just what comes off of the different units. The piping, and then for baseboard heating, it's PEX. I mean, not PEX. It's copper, but it's copper baseboard. Yeah. Santi, the number one mistake I see for home buyers when buying foreclosure is not to camera the sewer lines. Yep. Any property that's 50 years old must likely have the cast iron drain lines. So Santi's exactly right. And cast iron falls apart, especially when it's not being used. But they have been known for like literally the bottom to just eat out, for them to become rusty and brittle over time. And so they can collapse in on themselves. In fact, if you talk to Mike Zuber, One Rental at a Time, he had 6 or 7 houses in a row when he was buying foreclosures in 09 and 10 that needed their sewer pipe replaced to the tune of like $5,000 to $8,000. Usually what ends up happening is water roots for trees anywhere around it. The roots always look for their water. When they do that, they can actually penetrate the cast iron through fissures, small cracks. And so it will, so what it actually does is it will actually work its way in, and then it will do something called create tree skirting. Tree skirting is extremely dense subset of roots that actually is so unbelievably thick that literally it can get to the point where eventually it fills your pipe and you can't get anything past it. Now, the nice thing is that when you camera the line and then you auger the line, when you auger the line, guess what? You can, all that stuff gets torn and ripped out. So you don't have to worry about it. It will come back. But at least then hey, this is something that we know about. We're probably gonna have to do this every few years. Hopefully that's helpful. Matt Bittner, do you like PEX pipe? Yes. Dividend Dave, thanks, Kip. Getting it done. Dave, I gave you the idea first. What's up with that? Sam Farho, tenant offered to pay the 15 days, but didn't want to change the lease time to start 15 days earlier. I said, for liability issues, I can't do that unless it is in the lease. They preferred to move slowly. Yeah, see, I don't know what the rules are for your state. Sorry, Sam. I don't know what the rules are for your state. I would, I mean, she's paying for the 15 days, but it's not in the lease. I just don't know how that works in your state. Sorry, man. You got to ask an attorney and just say, hey, this is the situation. Explain it to him just that way and then give him something. I have a disclaimer letter for polybutylene repair lines. Yep, since I know it will leak again in the other sections. In Florida with polybutylene, request full water replacement. So Santi, I'm not sure if you know, I love your feedback on this. I bought a house, had polybutylene. Polybutylene was basically PEX before PEX existed. The problem was the piping was fine, but the connectors would corrode over time, and thus then your pipe would leak. What's really interesting is they got this massive class action lawsuit. They lost the class action lawsuit. What other channel are you getting this stuff on, guys? Like, seriously, like, who else is talking about polybutylene and the fact that they had a class action lawsuit? Thank you, Santi. I mean, who's talking about this stuff? This is really important. So I went to go get it covered. The trust fund is the trust, or the not trust fund, the fund that they had set aside for that no longer making disbursements because it had a time limit on it. So it was no longer making disbursements. I couldn't get paid. Couldn't get paid. Dividend Dave, Santi, this duplex is a 1991 build. Wow, that's a newer build to have a failed line. That might be a constant problem. They might have pitched it wrong. It might be broken. Like, it, yeah, I definitely camera that. I would love to hear Dividend Dave. Let me know what you hear. All right, Stars, morning, Matt. Will an inspector tell me all the things wrong as well as its cost to fix, or just what's wrong? Just what's wrong. Just what's wrong. Yep. And quite frankly, you don't want to take their word for it. So this is why I use construction guys, is because they can at least ballpark it for me. They can at least give me an idea. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I can take that sag out for you. I mean, it's probably a couple of guys and jacking and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I mean, like $2,000, right? So that's what they're thinking. And that's why I like construction guys. If it was something I didn't have experience with, but now we've done kind of everything. There isn't really anything we haven't done, especially with every one being a brand new experience with, 160-year-old buildings and 120-year-old buildings and stuff here. So they largely won't, most inspectors will not be able to tell you how much something like that costs. They won't know. If it's a big problem, you just want to get multiple quotes anyway. At Dividend Dave, 1991 drain system should be PVC. Yep, that is good. Yep. Just make sure your duplex has a clean out access outside and have it inspected. Yeah, so what Santi's talking about is there is an outside clean out and there's also an inside clean out. Who knows where the clean out, who knows where the issue is, but if it's backing up into the building, it could be an issue with the outside clean out. The perfect world is that they put in an outside clean out, but that didn't always happen. Just didn't always happen. That vintage real estate, things are getting thrown up really, really fast. So you might, it's possible. It's not guaranteed. It's possible. It doesn't have an outside clean out, which is actually code. Robert Falinelli, how much do you expect closed cell foam on the rim of 1,000 square foot basement? I don't know. The pricing's changed that much. Truly don't know. I was around like $1.50 an inch. And so then if they figure out, it's like $1.50 a square inch. So then they basically go up the joist with how tall that is a 6, an 8, a 10, or 12. And then it's the coverage. And then if you only want, 1 inch, so it's 7.5 R value, or 2 inches and it's 15. Too much of a range. But yeah, again, pricing's gone way up, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's, probably around $1.50 an inch. Yeah. Yep, it gets expensive fast for sure. We did a house 3 years ago, 4 years ago. We did a house 4 years ago, and doing that house was about 4,500 square feet. It was multi apartments. I want to say that bill was like $29,000. But man, did that building was awesome. It still is awesome. I don't think I'd ever sell that building. It is amazing. Rule number 1 for your plumbing, you need to have a ball valve for a main water line. Yes, I totally agree. Number 2, you need to have, so guys, I've done videos on that where we talk about those ball valves. I actually add ball valves in my houses so I have more shutoffs than I need, especially in my multifamily units. I want more shutoffs. You see that star valve underneath anywhere? Call a plumber. I don't like those. That's why with my work in my houses, this is not a recommendation. This is what I do. I will use that cutter tool. I will cut out the old star valves, or I can even torch them and heat them up. I just shut off the main to the house, get them all clear, and then I can put an actual ball valve in here. This is what a ball valve is. It's actually got a ball inside there. See that? That's closed. Yes. And then this is open. See? That's a ball valve. This is the lever action that you're looking for. The key is that straight in line is open. And then when it's not straight in line, when it's off like this is off. See? Simple. It's running this way, it's off. It's running this way, it's on. But this is a ball valve. See? But yeah, I stick more of those ball valves in the house because a lot of these older homes, they have a shutoff right by the water main. And that's sometimes it. Or they might have it to like off of like where that line then splits and goes to each of the different apartments. They might have a shutoff there. They might have a shutoff underneath the sink, which is code, by the way. But yeah, I want ball valve shutoffs on the pipes that are going to my sinks. That's absolutely what I want. Yep. I totally agree with you. Number two, you need to have a clean out access outside for your drain line to catch tenants' wipes and back charge. Yeah, no kidding, right? So in that outside cleanup is a lot of times where you will find sanitary wipes, female products, etc. We had that problem. We had that problem this year. And it was a wipe issue. It was a wipe issue. One was like, oh no, we didn't do that. And then I was like, you did it. It was you. Like, it was 100% you. You guys clogged that line. Sorry, you clogged the line. So we had to pay, and it will be taken out of their deposit because she showed us the box and we're like, you have to get rid of that. Like, she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, my kid put it down there. Yeah, it's not my $900 problem. That's your $900 problem. So yeah, Santi, awesome. Exactly right. LV Teach Me. Hi everyone. I can't attend live today, working with a fellow entrepreneur at a festival. Awesome. I love it. Entrepreneur it up. Looking forward to sharing my latest real estate endeavors. Looking forward to hearing them, LV. Thanks for stopping in. Julie Anderson, my plumber here in Washington State loves PEX. I still don't trust it and believe it will disintegrate in due time. Julie, PEX is not like the government. I like PEX. It's not going to disintegrate. Plastic, disintegrate. This is the stuff that they're complaining about is in landfills for like 1,000 years. PEX ain't going anywhere. Sammy Farho. And of course, I'm making those jokes for you, Julie. Sammy Farho, what are your thoughts on cost segregation, bonus depreciation from yesterday's deep dive? Have you done it? Yes, and I loved it. I got my biggest tax return I've ever gotten, and I did cost seg and bonus depreciation. Love it. Love it. Love it. In fact, I have a special treat for you guys for cost seg. I'm just getting everything in order for you now. It will blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. It'll absolutely blow your mind. I couldn't believe it existed, but it did. Holy cow, it was freaking awesome. I'm telling you guys, there's a whole different level of fire that's coming out of the lumberjack the next like 60 days, even more. Oh man, it is rocking, guys. That cost seg thing is going to knock you on your ever loving butts. It is awesome. So yes, I've done it, Sam. And I couldn't tell I loved it. PEX, it all depends on the joins. Yep, there are different types of a plumber. Yep, there is one that can install the new line only, and then one that comes back 20 years after to fix it. Yep, agreed. I do the two things. Yep, totally agree with you, Santi. There are people that are really good at install. There are people that are really good at repair. Make sure you know which one you have. I actually have a plumber that is like Santi. They do both. And that's really important to me. The other thing is, it's important to me because they service what they install. So they're not trying to quick, get out of the job. They're trying to do it right, make sure it's done well, and taking care of it. Sorry, I was listening to the kids upstairs. There's a bedroom above my studio. Good planning, right? It's the only room in the house. What do you want me to do? Daniel G, 86. I've got 30K cash. I like it. Own 2 recently renovated properties. Like it. Should I go find other properties in South California this year? Impossible to say. Or should I sit on my hands with 30K in cash reserves to weather this recession? That's personal preference. It really, there's so many factors there that you didn't give me. I don't know what your monthly income is. I don't know how much other reserve you have. I don't know what quality of tenants that you have. I don't know what the cost of your buildings are. There's a billion things there that I couldn't begin to give you the answer. All I can tell you is this, how I'm structured, right? So how I'm structured is I have my emergency fund, which I don't touch. I have the money on top of that I do touch. But I also have significant cash flows that if 50% of my tenants stop paying, I still can make my nut. So if 50% of my tenants can still pay and I can still make my nut, I've got massive cash flows that largely anything coming up, I can take care of usually with cash flow. So if you're a newer landlord, which I was in that same boat a little more than a decade ago, I didn't have a big cash reserve. I didn't have significant cash flows. I had cash flows that if a few tenants stopped paying, I wasn't making any money. If anything less than 75% or 70% of my tenants, if I got to like, if I get to 70% of my people paying, I was maybe making the nut. Depends on what other expenses there were, water, sewer, etc., this, that, and the other. My kids are upstairs. I can tell, jumping off of things, but there's no crying, so we're good. Ashley's with them, so I'm fine. So I can't answer your question, Daniel. That really is a feel thing. I know for me, I was really super aggressive. But I also had like $100,000 in credit on credit cards available to me that if I got stuck, I could pull on that. Like I ran my business super aggressively. I don't recommend that for everybody. I lost plenty of sleep, but I also had a 6-figure job, that it was like, okay, if I needed to, I could, pull deeper on that and pull harder on that and do more on that. So yeah, lots there. Would you still winterproof PEX pipes in the winter? Yep, I would. Yep. Ryan Allen, hello, just hanging out for a bit. How's it going? It's going well. Is Lexi hanging out with you? That's Lexi, right? The master. Have you or do you know anyone who's done the earth tubes for moderating indoor temperature? I do not. Like geothermal, I have not done any of that. Geothermal in our state is really expensive because we are the granite state, because granite is under the ground after a few feet almost everywhere. So stuff like that is super expensive here if you're talking about geothermal. Marlon Parker, have you considered investing in international markets? Marlon, I have not. I am too much of a control freak. I want to touch, I want to see, I want to feel. And when I'm yelling at someone, I want them to understand what I'm yelling at them. And I suck at second languages. I'm the worst at it. I'm really bad at it. So the only thing that we might do is we might not invest in another country, but we might buy in another country, and then just have it be something that we use and that sort of thing. But it really depends. Like there's a lot of expats in a lot of different areas now. Costa Rica is a big one right now. So yeah, it depends. It depends. I don't think I'd invest and want to manage anything outside the country now. No. Daniel G86. How old am I? I am 45. Pretty, huh? Just kidding. Yeah, I'm 45. Born in 77. Sam Farho. I was spraying pesticide yesterday and I almost was choked. The stuff was so bad, even if you're feet away. I stopped and was worried about waking up the next morning. So anytime that you're spraying a heavy pesticide like that, Sam, here's what I would tell you to do. On Amazon, and I'll probably show you guys this, I actually have a full face mask. It's called they have something called a P100. I like the P100, but they have even something, so it's like the N95 mask that we were all wearing. This is a P100 mask. You're not getting anything through that thing in all likelihood. But when I'm spraying something that I'm not really sure about it, like I don't want to be the next poster child for Roundup, you can actually get the full face mask ones. With a beard, they're a little more difficult. I literally have to do this with my beard and tuck it up in there and blah, 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 and then super tight it and blah, blah, blah. So you still get like suction to your face. But if you don't have a beard problem like me, you can buy the full faced ones and you can buy those online for like $80. They're not bad at all. And again, when you're spraying heavy chemicals or anything like that, just better be safe than sorry, right? I don't want you to be a Roundup commercial later on in life, and you can buy them pretty cheap. I'll do probably something on that. That's actually something I should probably do. Protective wear. Because we have that stuff. We actually have that stuff. When we're doing demo, if we're doing demo in like a room or something, we'll actually have the guys wear masks because we don't want the cellulose getting up in the air, and fiberglass fabric getting up in the air. And I mean, it gets dusty and nasty and gross. So safety glasses and a P100 at a minimum, safety glasses and a P100. Some guys don't even want to deal with it, and so we just have the full face mask and then just put it on there. And like I said, then you're good. Flash of light. Do you put anything in your 401k or Roth now? So I don't qualify for a Roth. I'm doing a Roth only since it allows contributions to be pulled without penalty. Yeah, so I don't qualify for a Roth. And sort of. So interest of full disclosure, my company, they contribute, but the way that it works is so what I went to them with, and I probably shouldn't share that. I can't share that. But here's what I would tell you. There is a contribution that goes into that account every single month. I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it. And it's very conservatively invested, very conservatively, because it's truly, it's like, I think I look at my statement once a year, and that's when I file my taxes. Robert Farinelli, do you own a pressure washer? Yes. If so, how much pressure do you need to wash vinyl siding? It depends on the vinyl siding. I've had vinyl siding that we've blown holes in because it's the older, thinner stuff. And there is different thickness and gauge of vinyl siding. What I always recommend with pressure washer is pick a part of the building that is small, that no one sees. That way, if you bust through it, you can replace it. That's what I would, and you can also go a lot of times with like the different tips and just go softer or start off, softer and then get, more and more hard or more PSI on the spray. But yeah, I always test it someplace first because we've blown through siding before. It was 30-year-old siding had become brittle and they started in the front and they hit the first thing and it just shredded through. And it was like, oh crap. How are we going to find 30-plus-year-old faded siding, the same brand? What a nightmare that was. Yeah. So, so test it first, hidden behind. That's what I would do. Yep. Ryan out. I had a similar situation with my tenants asked to have a friend move in and I did the same. Yep. Update a lease and up the rent by $100. Yeah. I mean, I do have to cover my extra costs. It is extra wear and tear. And it's a lot cheaper than they're going to get moving in anywhere else, right? So that's fair. Like, I don't want to gouge them, but is it fair to move somebody else in and not tell me and have all the added expense come to me? Because I can see it. Our water bills here, water and sewer here, because the infrastructure is so old, is very expensive. So I can see the difference there. It's not, it's a legit difference. So yeah, I just want to cover my additional costs. That's all. Santi, thanks for the hack. Yeah, you're welcome, my man. Santi, weekly, thanks for all your interjection on the plumbing stuff. I love it. Hearing from a pro. Weekly payment was fair. I agree. Yeah, I think that was fair. I just love how he handled it. Like taking me out of the situation. It was him saying, him just appealing to the more common sense side. And for me, it was, for the two of us, it was, well, I'm going to stay here as long as I want. And he's, so he was able to be a third party, have no skin in the game other than I was his client and he was going to try and take care of it. And he did a great job. And so, yeah, it was fantastic. Matt, what's your day job? Zuber and Dion make it sound like you work at a company. I do. I work for a software company. I'm an executive at a software company. So I work 50 hours a week at a software company. Yeah. Ready on. My dude. Did I hook you up or what, bro? You can say it. Yep. You can say it. Ready on. I want to know, did I hook you up? I have two questions. Do they make combi boilers for 2 units? Yep. Is it worth doing conversions from oil to gas and from steam to water to allow for combi boiler installation? My heart, yes, but it really truly depends. You want to make sure that you're lined up, that you've got the right vendor. Combi boilers, I love. IBC is my brand. If you can get natural gas there, then I believe absolutely. If you have older boilers already that are one pipe steam, I believe absolutely. It really depends on how close those other things are. The only thing that you want to contemplate is I would get a quote from multiple people. IBC is the brand I use. I've installed now, I think 28 or 29 of them. I've lost count, but we're high 20s. More coming as well. We're putting 4 more in July. July. Oh man, August. We're not going to get them in July. We're putting 4 more in August. Make sure that IBC, that you talk to a vendor that has the dealer kit. And whatever they want to say about them, it's because they're probably not going to. IBC has a very stringent program to become a dealer, and a dealer kit dealer. So when somebody's like, "Oh no, we don't," yeah, no, there's better product out there. No, no, nope, nope, nope. Don't want to hear it. They didn't qualify. They didn't qualify as one. They didn't qualify as a dealer vendor type. So, yeah. I'm a huge fan of the IBCs. I've got almost 30 of them. In 6 years, I've replaced 1 part. And I've never, other than that one time, I'd never had a service call on one. I'm telling you, that's just the math. Those are just the numbers. Let me know. Hey, I hooked you up with somebody on insurance. Tell me how it went. Legacy Up. Hit the like button for growth. Thank you very much, Legacy. I appreciate that. I talked to Matt, the mortgage guy, when I lived in California, but he referred us to someone in Washington when we moved up here. Was he any good? Amafid, Lumberlord Millionaire. Lumberlord Millionaire. Interesting. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I think you're heading down the right path. That I can tell you. I haven't picked a name yet, but you're heading down the right path. Santee, rubber rings. Yeah, is that seal? Yeah. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was something different, Santee, because it didn't say rubber rings. That's all. Yep, inside the fitting. Yep. The machine compress. Yep. Makes it water leak proof. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were talking about something different because it didn't say rubber ring. That's all. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't something I hadn't heard of. I'm humble in that regard. I'm out there a lot, but not as much as plumbers. Flash of light. Would you periodically use root killer in a bottle down the toilet? No, I would not. Nope. That's going into public water supply. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Nope. Sorry. Theta Hedge Capital. Electric sewer eel is a must for self-management. Dude, I've got one. What heads are you running on your eel? It's like a hangout. I love it. I purchased a 2.5-inch clog chopper, but haven't had the opportunity to use it yet. I don't know. We have 3 heads. You know what's really funny is the guy that we hired on, Kenny. He hasn't been with us for a year yet. He loves the balloon. The balloon is his thing. He loves that thing. Yeah, he avoid. I don't know if the eel scares him, intimidates him. I love that electric eel. Quick tip on the electric eels. We all know that they're like $1,500, $1,800, $1,900, right? So those $1,500, $1,800, $1,900 electric eels, watch this. Go to your local Home Depot, the ones that rent tools. Go to tool rental places and ask them, do you have any tools that you're going to be putting out there that you are end of lifing or putting out to pasture? They will always have them. Home Depot does it based on, time, not always based on use. I got an electric eel that they had the entire history on, and it had been rented out less than 100 times. And I bought the thing for $400. I saved myself $1,500 over buying a brand new one. Am I going to use it 100 times? No way. I might use it a couple, 2-3 times a year. The rental is going to cost me that if I go rent it 1 year. So that's just a no-brainer. When you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you buy the bigger and bigger and bigger tools. So that's one of the things that's gotten better over the years is I've got more tools. I've got more stuff to handle bigger issues is the bigger thing. Santee, Chinese drywall refers to residential construction between 2001 and 2009, affecting an estimated 100,000 homes in more than 20 states. Yes. And there are a lot of those are southern states, southern and western. Not much of that stuff got to the East Coast. I see this all the time in South Florida, property with 10 water leak repairs and keep leaking until they do a full replacement. Yeah, 100%. Yep, totally agree. Phil Nealand, fantastic noise reduction tips. Thanks. Phil, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. Daniel G86. I'm offering on a property in Lafayette, California. I don't know where that is. It's on a 70-year-old slab foundation, which is on top of expansive clay soil. Ooh, foundation is cracked in several places and wavy. Yeah, I bet. I'm not that concerned. I figure I'll throw down some self-leveling concrete than a fluid applied vapor barrier. Do you think that kind of solution will work fine when we go to resell? It doesn't sound it. I don't know enough. I'd want to see it. It doesn't sound it. I don't love it. I don't love it. Nope. It's that foundation, right? Yeah. I mean, if it's on clay and it's all cracked up and stuff, like new code, they wouldn't let you build it on the clay. They'd make you dig out a bunch of the clay and put a bunch of, hard pack down underneath it. Yeah, for me, in my shoes, if I were evaluating that, I see those major cracks and I know that it's built on clay. Yeah, that's probably not a thing for me. Probably not a thing for me. Johnny Cashflow, what's up, baby? Johnny Cashflow, hustling and fishing and hustling and then fishing more. Let's see. Jesse Mount, would you charge the tenant for grease and hair clog of the pipe? Yep. Would you have a clause in the lease that state that? Yep. Yep. The one thing that you need to recognize is, and this is why we're actually considering buying one of those $5,000 pipe cameras. We're actually considering it. And the reason that we're considering it is because they're like, well, you can't tell that that was me. Here, listen, all I can tell you, before you, no clog. Now you clog. And you've been here for 6, 8, 9, 10 months. That's enough time for it to back up. So before you, no clog. Now you clog. Like, so if it's that kind of cut and dry, for me, I would probably try and send them a bill. Yep. Something offended people. Literally 15 people jumped off like that. That's all right. It's okay. I say offensive things. I have it in my lease. Yeah, and I don't share my lease because it's not mine to share for other people. It's mine to use with my tenants. Matt, the property I closed on Friday that has a tenant, well, the sellers gave back $7,000 in order for the tenant to stay. So now I'm $7,000 richer, but need the possible remove the tenant. So, dude, this is what we talked about, right? You were a little scared about the tenant, but now you got 7 G's in your pocket to handle the problem. I think that depending on your state, if it were me and I didn't, and I knew that I needed to get more rent and I knew that I needed to rehab the unit, I would, if you're ready to rehab the unit, then in my state, you can just give 60 days notice. I don't like people putting people out like that. So I try and work with them. And so because I'm trying to work with them, I would probably just say, listen, the rent is just way too low. I would do Dion's binder strategy with them, see what they're willing to do. And if they're not willing to do anything, then just say, that's all right, I understand. And then if you're going to rehab the unit anyway, then again, my state is 60 days. Or you can also don't set up any sort of an online payment, because if you partial pays, then it's a whole problem. Then yeah, I would just give notice. That's what I would do if they're not going to pay them more. So $7,000, that's a lot of mistake making you can make, my friend. That's a lot of mistake making. Jernil Diaz. Hey, Matt, most of my homes are sub 200K. Okay. I filed joint taxes with my wife. Okay. Is there any tax benefits you know of for smaller price point rentals? Yes. Yes, there absolutely are. You can. So the way that we do it is Ashley is actually the, I didn't say anything that offensive. The number just dropped. So my wife is actually the real estate professional because I have a W-2 job. I can't be recognized as a real estate professional unless I work more than my W-2 job. And that's not going to happen. And so for her, she's the mom, but she was already doing all the accounting. She was already on all of the text messages because we set up group texts with all of our tenants. She already, like, we just had to move a couple more things onto her plate. And then she was a real estate professional because she was actually doing, I mean, she averages probably about between, on a low week, 10 hours, on a high week, 25 or 30. Like when it's tax season, like our taxes probably take a couple hundred hours to put together. Yeah, they're probably a couple hundred hours to put all that stuff together because we don't just send it to the accountant and go figure it out. We actually give it to them all completely and fully organized. And so that, I mean, that legitimately takes, 20 hours a month to make sure that we're clean on the month and everything's straightened out, 20, 30 hours a month. And then, little maintenance things here and there and tenant move-ins and move-outs and pictures and security deposit letters and all that stuff. So so she's actually above the 750 for hours annually. And so that was with the additional properties that we did this year and all the construction projects that we have. So it was a lot of extra bookkeeping for her. So we actually qualified for that this year. And so we went down the road of real estate professional, cost segregation, and bonus depreciation on a couple of properties. I think there is Journey. Don't know all the details, but that's what I would, but yes, I think there's absolutely opportunity for you there. If you want to talk to the guy that is my accountant to the infamous, his name is Bob Langworthy. He's based in Maine, but he does stuff all over the country. He's definitely worth setting up a conversation with. And I can tell you, I have never been so happy in changing a vendor. He was spectacular. He was amazing. He was amazing. Ryan Allen. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Sorry. Ryan Allen. Lexi is off playing today. Oh, we're heading out to the beach with friends. We'll have to watch the rest later. You have a great day. You too, Ryan. Sandy, new house hack, renting a room, 4 beds per room to illegal workers. Okay. I would not risk myself to collect rent that way, but there are people doing that and making a lot. What do you think about that? I like sleeping at night. Yeah. There's a lot of companies out there that get H-1B visas that, hire international workers to come in and work for them for the season. I contract with those companies because those folks that are doing that job, they really just want a nice place to sleep at night, but recognize they're probably gonna have a roommate to help cut down the cost. The way that those H-1B visas work is that the owner actually has to pay for the rent and then they reimburse. And so it makes sure that they're put in a nice place, not a dump. And so they rent some of our big units. Yeah, they rent some of our bigger units. And there is no way, I don't think any of my contractors could keep up with those guys. They're Guatemalans. They're awesome. Every last one of them is the most unbelievable hard worker all day long. Unbelievable. And they're nice people. They're really just great people to be, and they're just, the work ethic is awesome. So I really like being around those guys. Yeah. Yep. So Santi, for me, that's not for me. It can be for you. It's just not for me. I wouldn't want to, yeah. If I know something is illegal, I don't do it. If I think something's illegal, I don't do it. If I have a question about something being illegal, I have an attorney for that reason. I ask them. If they say, it's not really black and white, it's kind of a gray area, still white, still white. Yeah, if I get in trouble, it's because I legitimately made a mistake and didn't know, and we've certainly had that happen. I legitimately made a mistake and didn't know. I mean, we bought a property that needed to have the flow test done on the sprinkler system in the building. It's the first commercial property I ever heard of. The city sends me this big, huge fine saying we don't have this on file. It's like, how about sending me a note saying that you need it on file? I didn't know. So they let us know, and we got somebody out there within a couple of weeks, and we got it done and tested and gave them the results, and everything was happy. And that was that. I had no idea you had to flow test sprinkler systems. Didn't know that. Didn't know. So now I do. But I was honest. Robert Fairnelly. So the rim joists are 7 inches deep, and the basement is 36 by 27. So if 1.5 square, it looks like $1,400. No, it's going to be higher than that. But do you know of any guys that don't try to cheap out by mixing open and cell foam? You can't mix. What they'll do is, you can call Spray Tech Foam. They're based in Dover, New Hampshire. Talk to Jamie. Let Jamie know I sent you, but you can look them up. Spray Tech Foam. Talk to Jamie. Look them up. Yep. Spray Tech Foam out of Dover, New Hampshire. He's as honest as the day is long. His guys, I know all of the installers there, all the guys that spray. They're all good. Every one of them. Yeah. Spray Tech Foam. Sam Farho, thanks, Matt, for doing some video on the masks. Yeah, happy to do it. Yeah, that protection stuff is good. Robert Fairley, never mind. I can't do math. It's more like $14,000. I'll pass. Not worth it. Yeah, not worth the ROI. So you might be able to get it done I would have it quoted. That's what I would do, because they might just say, hey, we just need to spray 1 inch up there. And so then if that's the case, I forget what the calculation is. It might be like I think it might be a square foot, but 1 inch thick. So I think it's a square foot, but with 1 inch thickness. So yeah, you're probably down around $1,500 to $2,000, but then you don't have the problem ever. We spray a lot of our rim joists for sure. Yep. We had them do a number of them a bunch of years in a row. It'll be a 1/12 of that. It'll be a 1/12 of that. So it'd probably be around $1,500, maybe 2,000. Is it worth that much? Yeah. Yep. It for sure is. Sam Farrow, how do your roommate tenants clean the restrooms, especially throwing paper towels, trash out? I feel no one wants to take the shared trash out. Do you hire a cleaner for baths weekly for roommates? Nope. If they want to live in filth, that's up to them. But if I go in there and find it, they're in trouble. We just took over probably the most disgusting unit that we took over in the last 12 months. And it was 4 guardsmen. And they had a $2,500 deposit, and they're probably going to lose all of it. They poured grease down the sink. They had a leak that they didn't report. They damaged 80% of the walls in the place. They ripped the carpet on the stairs in 2 places. They have a bunch of trash in the basement. The list was long and distinguished, but yeah, they're probably losing their whole deposit. I mean, we'll charge it out based on what we had to fix, but yeah, they're probably going to lose their whole deposit if I had to guess. I was disappointed, very disappointed. They were good guys, but man, they didn't take care of the place. Robert Fairnelly, ready on other things to consider. I just did the math in my case because of the chimney and oil tank condition. It would be the same to do, but a new oil boiler. Yep. Lord of Lumber cash flow. See, the lumberjack thing fits. but lumber doesn't, because an uneducated economist is the lumber man. He brings the heat and he knows all about lumber. Sam Farhoth, cost segregation. Do you just take depreciation funds out early, then you don't get any depreciation in the future? Just trying to figure out the math behind it. So same thing, or am I missing something? It's basically that, but you definitely want to talk to a pro. So we discussed it. That's generally how it works. But you'll want to talk to a pro. And you could call Bob Langworthy. Bob Langworthy, Maine bean counters. Just tell him the lumberjack sent you. Maine bean counters. Yep, lumberjack sent you. He's awesome. He's absolutely awesome. Would you do cost segregation on your first rental and moving forward? It really depends. I basically put it to the accountant, so I don't make those decisions. I ask the same way that you do. So I ask them and say, here's what I did. Here's what it is. Give me both sides. If I do it, what does that mean? If I don't do it, what does that mean? And that way I can see, okay, well then what's the future risk? How does it impact me now? How does it impact me in the future? Once I know those things, I can make an informed decision. That's really how I do it. Yeah. Nakodon, truth hurts, probably bad tenants. Yep. Yeah. I know mine were. Yep, for sure. Hey, Les and Heidi. Hi, guys. Thank you for the great information on rentals. We plan on buying one once the market stabilizes. I love it. You guys moved from Vegas, right? Did you guys move from Summerlin too, or somewhere else? I'm not sure if you heard that part of the video. I'm shopping in Vegas now. So yeah, I think you guys, I want to see you guys sold in Summerlin, but I could be wrong. Sammy Farho, hit the like button. Hey, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. See how crazy my hair is. I finally actually get to go get it cut this week, and I'm not cutting it. I haven't had a haircut in a year. I had to cut it myself. Couldn't sit inside the chair. Joel Cool. I like the name. Friend is looking to purchase their first unit. It's under 80K. Okay. Should they look to buy all cash, or can they do owner financing? They can do owner financing if the owner is willing to take the paper. I always like owner financing over a bank financing it any day. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I don't like paying cash. Because I like the multiple. So if you have 80,000, in cash, for most banks that require 20% down for an investor, see, this is where I like the house hack. But let's just say you're an investor. That gives you $400,000 of buying power. That's where you want to be, right? You want to leverage your dollar. Because for every one you put in the deal, you get 4 in the deal. So you put 1 in, the bank puts 4 in. If you are, this is why I house hacked, was if I'm a new investor, my first deal is house hacking. 1,000%, I'm buying a 4 unit and I'm house hacking. Period. End of story. I'm house hacking. Yep. No two ways about it. 4 unit, I'm house hacking. Yeah. Yep. Because I'm going to get 3.5 to a 5% down mortgage. I'm going to get to live there probably for free. And I'll be there for 12 to 18 months, and I'll refi out, or I'll keep that FHA loan and I'll do conventional in the next one. But all the money that I saved on not paying rent for the last 12 to 18 months, I'm going to use that to be the deposit on my next one. Cheat code to wealth, 4321 strategy videos on my channel. It's all in there. That's, if you want to know what I would do, that's what I would do. Yeah, I knew you sold Summerlin. Yeah. I mean, and now are you guys watching that market? Holy Toledo. That market is getting crushed because we're looking again because of what's coming. So I'm just getting all the knowledge I can right now. And yeah, living in Pinehurst. Yeah. Pinehurst is awesome, guys. North Carolina. Yeah. We still want to do the Summerlin thing just for 4 months out of the year, 3 or 4 months out of the year. We still want to do that. Karen Mulder. Hi, Matt. Thanks for your time today. Happy to do it. How often do you inspect your tenant occupied properties? Every 3 to 4 months. Do you give them a heads up? Thank you. I have to sign off, but we'll listen to the rest later. Yeah, happy to do it. We don't do surprise inspections. We don't do that stuff. We if it's a problem tenant, we let them know, hey, we're going to inspect the unit in 48 hours. And this is what time we're going to be there. So if you don't answer, just know that we will be gaining access to the unit. Because we want to check the smokes. We want to check the smoke detectors. It's a felony to remove smoke detectors. And so we want to check that those smokes are still in there. And that they're all in and operational. And just do a general kind of status check on the place, make sure everything is still up operational. No leaks that they haven't reported, things like that. So yeah, that's something we do, but we give 48 hours notice. You'd be surprised how many people still don't give a what and don't clean up. You'd be surprised. Sadly, it's a lot. Yep. Sadly, it's a lot. Yep. Yes, that's the answer. Jeremy Kirkwood, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. What's the name of the baseboard electric heaters that don't suck? I know you have mentioned them before. The electric baseboard heaters that don't suck. Jeremy, I'm gonna have to look up that name for you. I want to say they're like slant fan or something like that. I think they're slant fin. Just make sure it has the option of being able to be put on a thermostat, not just on and off, and not just down. You'd be shocked, not just down on the unit itself. Make sure that you can put another thermostat up. It's a little bit more money for wiring. It absolutely is, but make sure of that, because you'd be surprised if it's on that floor. People are so lazy, they won't turn it off. And then they complain when they get a $250 electric bill. It's like, I'm not there using your electric. It's a high bill because you don't shut that thing off on the reg. So yeah, I think they're called slant fins, but I had to look at. You guys had a lesson. Heidi had a single story. Yep, I remember that. And Braymore Heights. Yeah. The numbers have gone down crazy as far as what they're asking. It's still way more than what people were paying 3 years ago. But yeah, we're looking Summerlin and Desert Shores is where we're looking. Yes. Cassidy Ironman, I learned that you have to pay 25% down for a triplex and quads in California. Can only get the small down payment in a duplex or single. So that's one of the reasons that I'm the dominator of duplexes. I love the dupes. And the reason I love the dupes is I can buy them with the same debt. However, here with most of the banks that are around here, they still want those smaller banks. They want 20% down. What you need to do is, I don't know that that's a California law. I don't know California law, but I don't know that that's California law. I think that you can probably find somebody if you do a little bit of work. Not saying, and I know you're not afraid to do the work. That's why I'm telling you. If you do a little bit of work, you can find that there are programs for 3 and 4 units that are 5 or 10% down, that are Fannie and Freddie backed. Then you just have to find the lending partner that does those types of loans. So a lot of people say, oh yeah, you can't do that. You can. It's a program. It exists. You just don't do it, because there's certain brokers. A lot of brokers don't have any idea. I would talk to Matt, the mortgage guy. I don't know if he knows about that program. I don't know if it is. If he said that's a California law, I would believe him. But anybody else, I wouldn't believe him. I would look and do the homework. I'm pretty sure I've seen programs. Maybe it's California. This is the difference. But there is funding out there at 5 or 10% down for 3 and 4 units. That was one of the things that they changed in some of the real estate rules this year. So give me just 1 second. Okay. Good. I think that's it. Did we get to the bottom of the question? Oh, fantastic. I'll look into that. Yeah, definitely. And Cassidy, dude, how's it going being a dad? Congratulations on the new baby. That's awesome. I know it's such a nice day out here. Hold on. I have to text somebody. They, oh no. One second, guys. Okay. Tenant issue, had to handle it. Oh, literally any moment now. Still, he hasn't come. Little man, let's go. You're getting evicted. Come on out. He's currently looking to be a 10-pound behemoth. Oh my Lord. I think our biggest was 8. I think our biggest was 8. Yeah, man. Good luck to your wife, my friend. Good luck. You'll do awesome. Jeremy Kirkwood, thanks. I'll look them up. Definitely want to get the thermostat on them. Yep, to your point, last resident left the heat on the left in July. Yeah, as we know, we won't have, at least we know we won't have bed bugs. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, make sure you get the thermostat on the wall that connects to it. That's absolutely going to be your best bet by far. Listen, Heidi, Vegas is running low on water. That's why we left. Yep, scary to watch the water level in Lake Mead drop every day. Yeah, so I've talked to a lot of people about that. I am really, honestly, thoroughly confused. My wife is as cute as she is done. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah, I bet. Ashley carried Sam. She was 14 days overdue. She was getting induced the next day and she went into labor the night before. I was like, we just scared him out. Yeah, we just scared him out. Sorry guys, hold on one second. I want to make sure he was good. Yeah, so the Lake Mead thing, I've talked to a bunch of people, some who cares, so what? Some, yeah, it's a problem. 75, I heard 75% of Lake Mead is used for agriculture. And so I think that they could more easily fix the problem, but I don't know. How bad do you think things are going to get this winter tenant wise if fuel prices stay elevated, increased evictions, late rent? Yep, 100%. Yep. Yeah, the state has doubled the fuel assistance program for this winter. They've doubled it. Governor Sununu, very, 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 I don't agree with everything that he does by any stretch, but very smart. Very smart. They had some surpluses in some other areas and they said, we need to be proactive on this. We know how expensive heating fuel is. We need to make sure that our citizenry can bridge the gap if there is still one. Don't know if there will be, because obviously recession drastically destroys demand. But we shall see. The good news is that if you qualify for assistance, they'll be taken care of. Because like I said, they doubled the amount. So even if they just help they didn't run out of money last year. So even if they just keep that money, and even if just everybody that got helped last year, it's just twice the cost, which is what it is about. It's about twice the cost. Then yeah, Yeah, I expect more people will need help, but yeah, I think it'll be a problem. We're going through the process now of making sure that we're not paying for anybody's heat, because we were going to do that last year, but we didn't do it everything in time. This year, we're making sure that happens because, quite frankly, tenants are doing the wrong thing. They're leaving the thermostat on 80 or 82 or 86 and wearing shorts around the house. I'm not paying for that. Not paying. You want to pay for that? That's fine, but you're not doing the right thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get Cassidy Ironman. I'm trying to get one of my tenants on Section 8. However, the department seems to have basically stopped answering any and all calls over the past few months. Not quite sure about what the next step is. There isn't one. There isn't one. People can get on that Section 8 list and be on that list for years. Years. They can be on that list for years. Yep. For years. We had somebody that was on the New Hampshire list that just got a voucher. They were on the list for 3.5 years. Yeah. Keith Jordan, you have a beagle? A beagle named Tony. What's up, Tony? How you doing, pal? Telling you, if I can teach a beagle this stuff, I had a beagle growing up. Good dogs. Don't like it when they're laying down and you try and lay on their belly, they snap at you. Hunting dogs, those hounds, and an unmistakable bark too from beagles. But yeah, had a beagle growing up. We can't even get the paperwork to get on the list. Yeah, they're not. Yeah. Nope. It's because you know what? They don't have enough houses. They don't have enough units or houses anyway. It's funny how Robert Farinelli, it's funny how I see people posting units for rent way under market, heat included, 2 to 3 units and 3 units in Manchester in a good area. One had heat included when Section 8 will pay $17.80. They're going to lose money. They're going to get crushed. They're going to get crushed. Yep. And the rule is that you have to have heat on. You have to, I think it can't be below 60 for, I think it's like 8 hours or something like that. I think it's some rule like that. We've never gotten anywhere close to that, obviously. It was just something that we had heard from another landlord. But yeah. If they run out of fuel, and yeah, it's going to be bad. Yep. They could be in deep trouble. Legacy op. Hey, Lesson Heidi. From what I understand, Nevada and Arizona contract for supplying water to Cali is up. The aqueduct and river will be drastically reduced real soon. The intention to fill Lake Mead. Oh, very cool. From what I understand, Nevada and Arizona contract for supplying water to Cali is up. The aqueduct, and river will be drastically reduced real soon. The intention to fill Lake Mead. Interesting. Yeah, Robert found the 2 units were listed for 1,500. Yeah, they're going to get crushed. Sam Farho, you can control thermostat, lock it by using a PIN number. Also, you can use Wi-Fi to control thermostat from your phone wherever you are. Yeah, those are expensive thermostats. I'm not putting those thermostats in. Those thermostats, I like the $12 special that never breaks. It's digital. It's predictable. It never, ever breaks. And then I'm looking at one specifically that Jerneel showed that is actually can be pinned out to not exceed a certain degree in temp. And that's just the way it needs to go. But I would rather just let the tenants do whatever they want and then they can pay whatever they want. I'm a free market guy. So yeah, you want it 86 degrees and cool. I'm fine with that. Enjoy 86 degrees and cool. You're paying for it. I don't care what you do. Robert Farinelli, one of them was posted for EJG Property Management that loves to post land or market for whatever reason, less than Section 8 all the time. Yeah, I'd love to know what their strategy is. Probably it's to get as many people in there as they possibly can, and then they start billing them out. What thermostat is that? Which one? The $12 one? I don't know. I have to find it. I don't have one in my office. It's a cheapie. Yeah, it's a cheapie. I'll probably do one on that because I don't like the Wi-Fi ones. The Wi-Fi ones are expensive, and they can also I don't think that judges would take kindly to people getting their temperatures adjusted. I don't like if it's a physical limitation to the unit, that's one thing. If you're going in there and you're accessing it via Wi-Fi, their Wi-Fi, by the way, and turning down their temperature, ooh, I do not like your chances in court. I would not like that. You think if you get 149 contacts in 2 days, you'd be reconsidering your rent? Yeah. Well, here's the problem. I got 100 contacts in 2 days, and 85% of them stunk. 85% of those contacts were pure garbage. Pure garbage. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Sorry. That's good. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it'd be interesting. You know what I would do, Robert? You're in that market. I would make a call. Honestly, I would make a call. Go see the unit, see how they tore the unit. Listen, that's market. That's market competition. I know that people do that to me. I do that to some other people. Some, not all. There's only a couple. But yeah, we're getting like 100 apps in like 48 to 72 hours. We're getting like 100 apps. Sorry guys, 1 second. Just to shut off this alert. It keeps on blinking at me and it's asked and answered. Yeah, 85% of the tenants that we had of those 100 apps, 85% of them were they were not good tenants. They just weren't any good. So hard pass for me, guys. I mean, it was just the thing to remember is that 15 people still qualified on that first step. They're going to all come and see it. 5 of them will not show up and forget. 10 of them will probably show up. Even if 5 of them don't like it, I'm still working with 5 people. I'm still working with 5 people. How many people do you need to rent a unit? Just one. That's it. And I pick my favorite one. And my favorite is based on the combination of credit score, 3 times the income, net income, and that they paid their landlord the last 3 months rent. And if people like oh yeah, we're waiting for another roommate to get back. Hey, that's fine. Guys, it's first come, first serve. The first set of people that hit our requirement, they're in. That's simple. I got reamed out by somebody who was like, that's just unreasonable that you would make us do this so fast. I'm making you do anything. I'm letting you know it's first come, first serve. Yeah, that's just to put pressure on us. So, no, it's so I don't have to pay to have an agent show the place anymore. And other people are going to apply. You saw that there were 8 other people that are looking at the place with you. What, you want me to hold it open for you until everybody's applications are in? That's not how this works. It's not how it works. It comes first come, first serve. If you hit all the criteria, that's it. Period. If we have 2 or 3 people that hit all the criteria, we go back to them and ask them, would you consider a multi-year lease? You know, it's that simple. We actually had somebody do that. We actually had somebody sign a 2-year. It's awesome. They're great tenants. Great tenants. Just hold on 1 second, guys. This issue for the tenant. So this particular issue is somebody is not minding the rules. And you got to mind the rules, kids. Yeah, thanks. Sorry, guys. Let's see. That one by EJG also has a garage and hardwood floors throughout and a nice lawn. Yeah, I mean, they're underselling it. I wonder why. I mean, it's one real easy way to go talk to them. Let's see, Cassidy. My dad has a 3-1 rental above a post office he is looking to fill. Yep, his last few renters that he picked were awful, so I'm helping this time. Problem area is super rural and 30 minutes from nearest town. Yeah, that's absolutely a challenge, right? Because you're 100% dependent on a car. Are you getting any applicants? If we lowered the rent enough, do you think, yeah, entice a quality tenants from town to make the drive? Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the problem with those rural areas, right? Is that it takes a special person that fits what you're doing there, that wants to be 30 minutes away from everything. So Ashley and I lived in a town where we were like, hey, it's great. It's 20 minutes from everything. And then after living there a year, we we're like, oh, it's 20 minutes to anything. Right. So you have to pick the people that want to kind of do that and live that way, which is what can be the challenge for sure. For sure. Cool. Well, I answered all your guys' questions today. Please hit the like button on the way out. It was fun hanging out with you guys. I'm going to go spend some time with my kids before a busy work week. Cassidy, hopefully that works out. Good luck with the baby. That baby's coming, but like, let's speed it up, son. Let's go. And warm baths. That's what my wife swears by. We've had 3 in 4 years. So warm baths. But you guys have an awesome week. Thanks so much for hanging out. Check out the series on product. We're having some more landlord review product coming out this week. We'll do shark bites and probably protection wear. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we use. Maybe that press tool. I've got some ideas there. And then check out the Uneducated Economist live stream or the interview that I did with him. It was awesome. It was so much fun. Such a great guy. Check him out this week. Do yourselves a favor. Check him out this week. Listen to what the dude has to say because he's really sharp. And he's just a great guy. And super chat the guy for answering your question. It's well worth it. I know that it means a lot to him. But yeah, do that. Check it out. Jesse, you're welcome. Happy to do it. Cassidy, you're awesome. You should feel awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for Sunday Q&A. Have a great day. You guys as well. Robert Farinelli, thanks for the stream. Absolutely. Guys, appreciate your time. Have an awesome rest of your week. And normal schedule this week. Tuesday, Mike Zuber. Thursday, 3 Amigos. Friday, Mike's on my channel. And then Millennial Mike, I think we are doing something in the next week or so. Love spending time with that guy and working with him. He's a lot of fun, sharp guy, cool dude, all that stuff. So guys, thanks so much. Dion, you have a week full of awesome too. I think you and I are going to talk tomorrow. Nothing recorded. I think we're just talking tomorrow. So yeah, so definitely look forward to that. Thanks guys so much. Have a great rest of your week. Like it. Please subscribe if you aren't, and have a great week. Thanks guys. Take care. From the only guy still not retired of the 3 Amigos. Bye guys.